Hi, I'm Meg Benke. I'm professor in the School of Graduate Studies at Empire State College, part of the State University of New York. And I also had the pleasure this year to serve as a Fulbright Fellow at the Waterford Institute of Technology in Ireland. We are here to bring you the Prior Learning Assessment Professional Development Series. These videos are funded by the SUNY Training and Education in Advanced Manufacturing TACT grant. I'm here with John Beckem, who is an assistant professor in the School of Management and Finance here at Empire State College. And we're here today to talk about prior learning assessment and the recognition of prior learning. This first session is about how do you advise students who are preparing portfolios for prior learning assessment. So my first question to John is that it's sometimes difficult for faculty who have never done prior learning assessment to conceive of how you get at the quality of students' learning and how do you get students to demonstrate learning they have from experience.
Well, I take a couple of approaches. Number one, understanding that a student can be nervous, anxious, even have apprehension about going through the process. So I try to start off with picking a medium that is most comfortable for them. So I say we can either do it by telephone, video, or you can come into the office. Secondly, I try to relax the atmosphere by telling a joke, getting the person to laugh, and then sharing my experiences of actually when I went through the PLA process as well, just as a connecting piece. From there, I try to have them be able to articulate what their learning is. For instance, are there different schools of thought, and do you have both of those? This is how to prepare for that. As well as what are the theories that are associated with the learning that you want to get credit for, and how would you apply that inside of the work field as well as in your personal life?
Great. And I assume students struggle with how to write this. I mean, do you have them prepare a resume? What do you have them do?
Well, yes. So number one, I have them start with almost an outline, and then we can go in and kind of fill out the outline. So we start with an outline. I have them do a resume as well as almost a research paper. And then lastly, I have them utilize the e-portfolio, because even though you're talking about the different schools of thoughts, you're also talking about the theories that could be associated and the applications, but what do you have as evidence? And I get them to start building this into the e-portfolio, which is something tangible for them, but it also sparked other things that they may have forgotten.
Do you use a set of guiding questions if a student is struggling? What do you ask to help them to identify the learning?
Yes, I have about 4 questions that I utilize, and I utilize it when I'm helping my mentees prepare for evaluation, and I also utilize the same question for evaluation. I call it a Socratic method, which I actually learned in law school. So number one, I asked them to identify the important concepts, research findings, theories, or ideals that you're learning regarding whatever the topic might be.
Great.
So it's an open-ended question, and to get them to actually think about things in far as of depth as well as breadth of learning. Number two, why do you believe these concepts, research findings, theories, or ideals are important? They have to be able to articulate that for themselves as well as the evaluator. Number three, apply what you have learned from whatever your learning might be to some aspect of your life. So are you able to take something from theory and make it applicable, whether it's your personal life or whether it's into the work field? Because that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
And then number four, what questions has your learning on whatever that subject raised for you, as well as what are you still wondering about? So those are the 4 questions that I use as guiding questions to help a person be able to pull out those things that are going to be very helpful in them articulating their learning to an evaluator.
That's great, John. And finally, John, you have a background in manufacturing. You worked in industry. How do you draw on that experience when you're advising students?
Great question. Well, one of the problems that I had as a manager was when I got ready to hire people, and you look at their resume and their credentials, a lot of time they would come in and I couldn't put them right to work. So if it was in a book, all theory, they were great to go. But when it came to actually applying that theory, they were lost. And so going through the process of helping someone evaluate, I key on how do you apply this? So you learn this, what are different schools of thoughts, but how do we apply this? You know, the goal is to be able to make something applicable to your employer, to yourself, as well as your team that you're going to be working for.
Great, thank you, John.